And I guess I kind of wanted to explain about, I guess, the things I that's going on and stuff. But anyways, hang on. Turn this off. One. Okay. All right. I'm not trying to be offensive to anybody. That I'm not. I just took Chong out for his walk. I'm just over here, just trying to have a friendly chat, and I actually want I can't tell you what someone's thinking because that's not how these things go. Honestly, I'm gonna turn this light. Okay. All right. I can't tell you what people are thinking. If I could, I would know what they're thinking myself. I honestly would. So I can't tell you anything like that. And if I could, I would be probably a very rich person. But I've been doing a lot of stuff over on Facebook today, and I know that sometimes I just need to come over here and do more also. And I guess the big thing I want to do is just promote humanity. Because humanity is, I guess it's something that people should try to do. And sometimes you're alone because God just simply separates you. I've had to accept this in my life because, my sons got older and they lost their humanity for a little bit. I'll be honest. And it just happens that I was depressed for a long while. And I was I went to a nice apartment and I didn't see them for a long while. But I see a lot of posts on Facebook how God separates you when you're a good person. And I simply got separated from everybody. And I guess I'm not preaching because I guess I'm guilty of questioning God. I questioned God a lot. I questioned him like crazy. But if it wasn't for the depression and stuff I was going through, I wouldn't have came over here and I wouldn't have kept my mind busy. And sometimes God throws things in your lap that you would have never thought could happen. So, and God has separated me from relationships. He has separated me from a lot of things. And anybody can lose their humanity. A devout Christian can lose their humanity. Anybody can. But you can get it back. And I guess I was so hurt, I lost my humanity for a little bit. And I found my humanity. And that's why I tell you the gifts I have are from God because they literally are. They literally are straight from God. Whatever I got, that's where it came from because that's what it is. And it took me a long time to realize this, but I have. Do I listen to sermons on Facebook and stuff? No, I don't because honestly, it's I don't know. I just feel that I went to Catholic school for pretty much for 12 years of my life, and I've studied the Bible and stuff, but I guess at one point I lost my faith. And to protect me, God separated me for a while. He took me away from relationships that I had, and I was angry with God for a while, and I really was. But I realized in the end, God did these things for my own personal benefit. And I know it seems harsh and you can get brokenhearted and stuff. And I get it because life can really throw bad things at you. Life life is just bad sometimes. But I got somebody here. But I have my tarot cards. Oh, hello. How are you? Oh, I try to be respectful. I'm always respectful, but speaking my mind, I feel everybody should have an opinion. So, but I am respectful. But I did lose my faith for a long time, and I'll tell you guys, if you're going through a bad relationship or whatever, and you get separated, it's for a reason, and you should always, honestly, instead of being sad over the person you lost, think about what path they were going on, and and maybe you just weren't meant to be with that person at that time. And I've been separated from a lot of people, a lot, and this is how life is. Yeah, you can. Yeah, let me get my cards out. You want a general reading? All right. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I've had my struggles. I really have. My sons have been on drugs. They've got DUIs. They got with bad women. And I was in a bad place. A bad place. And I guess in the end I found God because I was separated literally from everybody I loved. So, and I know people who over here go through bad times, but sometimes your bad times are meant to bring you to a different path in your life. I was meant to go through bad times to help other people. And I do believe this because my sons are on a better path now. They're not on drugs, and my older son's in AA. And he has a baby on the way. I did a post for his birthday on Facebook. And I did a bunch of dog stuff over there. I always do dog stuff, so. But I like I said, if you guys feel hurt here, hang on. What was? I don't want to forget about your reading. What will Skyrine's feelings get? Are you with him, or do you like him, or do you just want to know what path he's on? Because I'm confused. Oh, hello. Because I can do his pathway, but I really won't know his feelings because God doesn't let you know things like this. Honestly. And Even if you feel one way about something, you could feel another way another day. Just so you know. Sometimes I hated somebody 3 days ago and then realized I was being an ass, and I liked them the next day. Or sometimes it takes a while. I did that for my sons. It took my son 2 years to find this out with his girlfriend. So, and sometimes waiting for that person, if it takes years, you're better off moving on. And then I can tell you that from what my younger son went through. And for maybe possibly what my older son's going to go through. All right, well, I could show you his path, but that's all I could show you. Honestly, I got it pulled up here. He's in a new moon eclipse where there's going to be a powerful change. And he's surrounded by a blue moon and a new moon in Taurus. The blue moon is pretty much just believing in what he didn't think was possible. And he's in a new moon in Taurus, which is prosperity. And they're very positive cards. Very positive cards. Honestly, he's in a good place in his life. It looks like. And he is going to have a powerful change. As for if he marries this girl, he's in a. You know what the old saying was, a fork in the road comes to my mind. They're saying he's in a fork of the road where he could go one way or another. And he could be happy with either or. And that's all I'm picking up on what they're saying. But he hasn't quite decided, and things can change at any time. So, I don't know. I'm picking up he likes this person a lot, and it could be possibly a good union. But anything could just end at any time. And I've learned that in my life also. So, I mean, maybe just, I would just kind of wait it out, see what happens. And it's hard to wait. Waiting is the hardest thing. They write country songs and old rock songs about this all the time. So, but that's all I'm getting out. But I know he's going to be very successful. He has money coming to him, and he just has to make his own choice. Well, you asked about the person that have his prospective marriage. I'm just picking up a fork in the road where he can decide one way or another, but he has success coming. So, I mean, I don't know what the fork in the road means, but there's a fork in the road somewhere. That's all I can tell you. I'm only allowed to know certain things. So, but anyways, I was seeing some post on Facebook, and they have a two-legged dog. And this two-legged dog really gave me hope. This dog had his, obviously at some point, I don't know how, but his two front legs were cut off for hopefully medical reasons, but hopefully it wasn't abuse. But I'm not picking up that he has a choice. He can or he can't. It's up to him if he decides to get married to this lady, and he does like her. If it's a lasting love, I don't know, but it's definitely some kind of infatuation. And I'm not sure if it's going to last, but I guess it depends if he puts his all and commits himself. But he has to decide within himself if that's what truly makes him happy. But there is a strong liking. I can tell you that. But even with a strong liking, things can always fall apart. And it can happen. Because what's meant to be is meant to be. What is not meant to be will not be meant to be. And no matter what you do to try to make it work, it will fall apart in the end. Yeah, a little bit. I'm picking it up. I mean, men like men like women. And if you are on the LGBT community, women like women, men like men. You could meet someone and have a crush on them and really like them a lot, and then the next minute, like maybe a week or two later, just realize that they're not the people for you. But there is a strong liking, and there's an interest, and I guess our human nature. We all have crushes. You could be married and somewhat have a crush on somebody. Crushes happen every day. And then it just goes into other things. And then sometimes you just realize what reality is and what you're gonna like and not like, and what you're gonna put up with and not put up with. That's why people that really love each other break up. So I'm just picking up strong liking, and then it could mean anything. It could mean that, he just finds her charming. And anybody could find anybody charming. You could find a snake charming. You could find a spider charming. But in the end, it's going to be what it is. Hopefully, he picks the right choice. But that's what's great about humanity is we can make our own choices. Because once we're dead, that's when we get questioned by God about our choices. And if it's not the right choice, and I could tell you because I've died before and came back, if they're not the right choices, God just questions you. And sometimes if you made some bad choices, God wants you to fix them. God did that to me. I died, and I had bad choices I made. I mean, I didn't go out there hurting people, but I've made some bad choices like anybody else, and I had to fix them. And I came back. So he'll have to do the same. Hopefully, it doesn't get to that point where God's having a talk with him when he's dead. But I'm praying it doesn't. But he has a choice to make, and hopefully, he picks the right choice and he's not like my sons. All right, here. Oh, you're welcome. And I appreciate you supporting the channel. I really do. And I appreciate all you guys with your humanity. So, all my office laptop problems be solved tomorrow. Well, that's good. I'm on the search for a laptop myself. I got my books been written, and I finally got some money together. And apparently, if you guys didn't know, computers right now in this economy are like dirt cheap. Food is expensive, but you can get a laptop for real cheap now. You can get a $600 computer for like $200, and that's pretty good. TVs are cheap too. So if you guys want to buy like $1,000 TV, you can get it like for like $300 now. So take advantage of this. Because I am. Wednesday, I'm going out and I'm buying me a cheap, sensible computer to get my book uploaded to Amazon. And I'm going to share Reels with the link, and I'm going to share the link over here. So you guys, if you like it, it's Lily in the Darkness. I wrote it getting when I was separated from my first husband, when I went through a really bad time in my life. So, oh, hello, Jasmine. But yeah, I wrote my book when I was going through a real hard time. It took me 5 years to write it, and it started when me and my husband were doing good on the first relationship, first marriage. And the first chapter was kind of written about him. And then he was an alcoholic and things were going bad, and I killed him in the first chapter. That character got died off. So my book has been, I guess, evolution into what I am today. So my friend's taking me out Wednesday, and we're gonna go laptop shopping. I just need probably a laptop for $100 or $200. So that'll be exciting news. All right, you want to know if your office problem will be solved tomorrow? Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's why I wrote this book, and it's actually it has a lot of feminine energy in it, and it's about a woman, and it has my book is about vampires and wolves, but I don't. It's like a personification because I know that a lot of writers are writing about dragons and stuff, but I decided to use that, and they're my personification, but I don't concentrate on them feeding on people in a murder. It's more like a supernatural soap opera. So I kind of like, I don't know, I just like True Blood and all that. I was getting involved in that at that time. So I'm gonna look it up. I got all the paperwork how to get on Amazon, and I'm gonna see how much money it would be to get it on. And once I get the new computer going, it's on a flash drive, and that's what I'm gonna be doing. And hopefully you guys like it. I mean, I did take a lot of English. All right, all right. Let me answer this question real quick. All right, but your office problem. Your office problem is you're in North Node with this, and that's stepping out of your comfort zone. And what I'm picking up is honestly, you just don't like dealing with a lot of drama, and I don't either. I have problems at work with drama, and I don't even create it. And you're surrounded with your office situation with the full moon in Virgo and also with the mutual moon. And it just means that some people in your office apparently think that you're not a good worker or your work's not doing well and things of that nature. They're just shit talking, as people do at work when they're jealous. I'm picking up jealousy because you're trying to succeed and people have issues and they're just jealous of you. And you also have a mutual moon that whatever they're saying is not going to stick. And this just means that they're going to say stuff, but no one's going to listen to them. It's going to go on deaf ears. So I believe if it's not solved by tomorrow, maybe in a maybe when it gets to a couple people it might be, but I don't think it's going to go very far. And I think you're going to be fine with your office problem. I've had problems at work where people were trying to accuse me of things that, and I wasn't even at work. So this is what people do. So I wouldn't sweat it with your office problem. All right. I need to ask if Yesh is my. Okay, so you want to know if this guy is your soulmate. That's an easy one. Soulmates are easy to read here. All right, you're the answer to that question, and it's in a new moon in Aquarius. And this just means that love has to be brought into the situation. And it's surrounded by a full moon in Capricorn and a full moon in Scorpio. And this a full moon in Capricorn is it's just the end of a rough time. And it's also surrounded by a full moon in Scorpio, where you have to release negative energy. I don't know if soulmates generally have to earn their right. To be a soulmate, you have to go through unusual circumstances through a one lifetime with the person. They just don't appear. I'm picking up that this person has been hurt a lot from other people, and he's hiding things from inside. He's not malicious or anything, but to be a full soulmate, you got to go through every test. And to give your all in your love means that you would want to die for a person. And that kind of status takes sometimes years. I believe you guys were together in different lifetimes, I'm picking up. But some of the lifetimes that I'm picking up, that he literally left you for another woman, cheated on you. And some of them, he stayed with you. He's an indecisive soul. He always comes back in every lifetime for some reason to try, but sometimes he's not the strongest soul. But he's one of those souls that are in your circle. And you can have many of those souls in your circle. So maybe once he releases this negativity in this lifetime, I feel that he could be a soulmate, but right now he's not. Because to be a soulmate is a lot. And it takes a lot of stuff to be one. So, and it's not a bad thing. In past lives, we learn lessons. In past lives, he was a womanizer. And he done some bad things. And then in some lifetimes, he was really good. So, I would just, honestly, whatever religion you are, just pray and maybe encourage and see where it goes. And maybe ask God to separate you from him if he's doing bad things. And honestly, if you ask God to separate you from bad people, he will. I'm living testament. I'm sitting up here in a bougie apartment, and I was separated from everybody doing bad because I just did not want to be around the negativity. So it does work, and we don't know what's good for us and what's not good for us because we're not the Almighty. So that's what I would do. But like I said, he's not malicious. So yeah, you can ask. So just stay with him. In this lifetime so far, he's been doing good, but you never know when things could go bad. You never ever know this. So that's why you got to pray on it sometimes. Okay. What are Sagittarius current feelings, next actions? Yeah, you can ask. Let me get this one done first. All right. You want to know his current next action? I could tell you what path he's in. That's all I really can tell you. He's in a full moon, which this means that the spirits want him to surrender to the divine. There's things he is holding back and he is not doing that he should be doing. And I just detect he's lying to himself about a lot of things. And he still has a super ego. And spirits don't like when you have a super ego. They really don't. And he's surrounded by a supermoon and a waxing moon. And the supermoon just means his emotions are everywhere and you know, he don't know which way to go. And he has a waxing moon also, where energy is just building up. So that's all I can tell you. They're waiting for him to become a better person and be the person he was supposed to be. But he's fighting it. So if you're fighting this kind of thing, then lessons appear and they will themselves separate him. And when they separate him, doing they will start teaching him lessons one by one and taking away things that he likes. And that's how spirits work. They take away what you like the most. So, oh, you're welcome. Okay, let me get Jasmine's other question here. All right. If a commitment is coming towards me this year, I could do a love reading, but I mean, a commitment I can't predict. I really can't. Because a commitment, even if you do get a commitment and it's not the right person, you could be separated from that person also. They're very specific about these things because a union between two people produce children. And when children are produced, the spirits want the right people around the child. Because anything you do against an innocent or a child, they get upset about. So that's generally how that goes. But your love reading for this next year coming on, or your love reading right now, what they have in store is a cardinal moon. And a cardinal moon just means, I don't know, just to be bold and make your first moves. You know, maybe come out of the box, step out of the closet, you know, have more confidence because I'm picking up you're scared because you were hurt. And you're surrounded by a fixed moon, which means just it's a manifesting card to manifest a lasting love. And you got a full moon of Virgo, which is you're good enough. And it's a self-esteem card, means you went through a lot of stuff and people beat you down. I do suspect there is going to be somebody that's going to come in your life, but it's going to come as a friend, and circumstances are going to bring you together. But that's all I'm getting on that. So, I mean, my advice is maybe just try to do things that you truly wanted to do. Like I wrote my book and get it done and just get a better self-esteem about yourself, which I went through on YouTube because I didn't like getting on camera. And I'll tell you, I did not. I'm autistic and I just don't like I just had a problem with speaking to people and groups in general. Even though I went to school for public speaking, I still did not like it. And I had to get over it and realize that I'm not a bad person and I would be fine with speaking, and it was a major distraction to try to get me to where I am now, where I'm more healed. So, I mean, everybody has something. And it's not a bad thing. I have whatever, and I don't regret it. I just had to maybe this is why live streaming came into my life, to make me work on communication. And I mean, things are falling in place now, but it was very hopeless about a year ago for me. So that's the best advice I can give you about that. Because in this world, right now, you could be anything you want to be. We got the internet, and I know when I was growing up, when I was younger, to be a writer was hard. Stephen King had to go, and we had typewriters, and they weren't like now. You had to sit there and get ink and everything. You had to fix your own mistakes. And it took an act of God to get a book published. Now it's easy. And you could post videos, and if you have a talent of dancing or singing, and you can go big anywhere. And everybody has some kind of talent they have. You just got to find it and utilize it and show people, and you can have your own broadcast. And that was a thing when I was younger that was not possible. So you might as well take advantage of the new age. You really should, because it'll give you a lot of confidence and self esteem, and you'll never know, and no one will never know that you were once wounded. I was a battered woman from a bad marriage, pretty much. And I just, I went to work and did what I needed to do and got through life, but I redefined myself. And everybody should redefine themselves, man or woman. Redefining yourself is a part of what you're supposed to do, and it's not everything's supposed to be handed to you in life. You got to find out who you are. And then sometimes you have to go through hard times to find where you need to go. Sometimes, like when you're driving and you get lost a couple hundred times, and then you have fun and you go, man, I know how to get to Kentucky now. We did this on the way to Disney World once. And it was fun, but now I know the road to Kentucky. And that's how life is. Sometimes the bad things happen to you so something good could happen. And I literally have done this when I was writing. Well, I literally had a vision of my book, and I actually, when I was in ICU, another book came in my head, which once I get this computer, I want to start writing. And everybody was against me. My ex-husband was always telling me it was a nice hobby and said I was a terrible writer and this and that. And people that tell you that you're terrible and this is terrible and they don't support you, good people. Those aren't the right people for you. And it doesn't even have to be relationship wise, it could be friend wise. And sometimes you have a bad parent. Parents should not do that, but people do. And sometimes bad things happen to get you to where you need to go. So that's what I would do. And that's what I'm doing now. I mean, and I never actually was going to be a live streamer. This was never on my list of things. Never ever. And the only reason I'm doing tarot readings because I've always kind of done it, but I never really thought to do it for. I don't believe in doing things like this for money. If you have a gift, you're supposed to like on a spiritual level, it should be done for free. A priest should not charge. This is why I have problems with Catholic priests. To get your funeral done and I'm saying this as a Catholic. My mother, we had to pay the priest $500 to do her funeral. They charge. They charge to come and bless your house. And if you are any kind of spiritualist, you should not charge. Especially if you're trying to help people and empower them. These are the people that literally are taking advantage of you. And that's probably why I have problems with the Catholics, even though I was raised Catholic, and I won't stop being Catholic because my mother's dead and she was a devout Catholic. I wish it could be fixed where they did more charity, but the parish I was at bought, and this is true stuff, after they molested these kids that were my friends and tried to molest me, and then they punished me because I wouldn't go with the program. They bought all these apartment buildings, and the priest was driving around in a Corvette. And I found that very strange. There's people out there that were starving, and I always heard about the people in China. My mom used to tell me, don't waste that food. The people in China are starving. The people in Ethiopia are starving. But Father so and so is driving a Corvette. I mean, it makes no sense to me. If you're a holy man or you're doing anything of faith, you should not charge anything. It's one thing if you to get donations, and that's why I always say, and I talk about if you support me about accountability of money. I don't want to be like the priest that I grew up with, and because I grew up in Catholic school pretty much. I was there for 12 years. I didn't see public school for a lot. So I didn't get out and meet a lot of people. I really didn't. I hung out with nuns and all the neighborhood kids in the area that were Catholic went to one school to stay out of public school, and that was it. And I seen a lot of darkness in the holy community. So, and darkness has many forms, and darkness likes, and they like the holy people the most because they have the most influence. And the one thing I will tell you, I studied their when they do when people are possessed, other possession things, when they're going and trying to take the demon out of people, and then they don't do it anymore. But they used to do it a lot, even when I was younger. They would do these exorcisms, and I studied the exorcism, and it got translated to Old English, and I do know Old English. I'm a bit of an English major. I even know Shakespearean language. And I studied this exorcism ceremony. And in this ceremony, they're always invoking the demon on themselves. And I'm just sitting there thinking, why? The demon wants to be in the priest because they have the strongest soul and they got faith. And this is what they were doing. So I'm wondering if this is why the church got corrupt over the years. And this is a practice been going on thousands of years with the Catholic religion and Christians. And I didn't know if I believed it because Hollywood, when Exorcist came out, it really kind of piqued my interest. So I got this book. And when I got the book, I read it. And I read the whole exorcism ceremony, and it came straight from Vatican City. There was a writer that came out and translated it and everything. It wasn't the easiest thing. It took me about 6 months to figure out. And I mean, the prayers were good and everything, but they should not have invoked that spirit into themselves. They could have invoked that spirit to a crystal. You could put You can put a dark presence in a crystal, which I don't know why they don't. Why they don't do it, but they don't. And because crystals attract energy, and the last thing you want is being a holy person is that dark energy, because it gives you a lot of dark things, and it could really hurt you. So, and it took me a lot of research to get that. And I will tell you, this story on Google came up because I follow archaeology, especially the religious stuff, because it fascinates me. Because, like I said, I've argued with many priests, and I guess they haven't been digging a hole, and I guess the Russian government was doing it to see, because this is what governments do. They want to, and I probably was for something, for a reason that they had, but they were digging and taking samples, and they dug it, and I think it was near an ocean, and it was just for research. A lot of research people do a lot of things. And in 1960s or something like that, it was around that they stopped drilling. They said they came across something, and they came across that was in it was a river, like an indoor river type thing. And they looked at it, and I guess they said there was evidence that the Bible was real, and that Noah's Ark was a real story. They don't, I mean, it was, we don't know, they don't know the time date, but they sealed it off. And they did find they say they found the Ark of the Covenant, and the Ark of the Covenant in I think it was Himalayan mountains or something like that. It was in a mountain range. And it was in that area when they were digging this hole for research that they found this, and they said that the Bible, it was accurate with the history, and they believe that there was a great flood, and they literally were finding rivers and caverns, and they found it, and they said it was underground. So they said that's how they believe that the earth around wherever it was at got flooded. So that really replenished my faith, because to stop a research project because they believed that God was real was a crazy situation. It really was. So I wanted to share that with you guys, because a lot of people don't follow religious archaeological things. They really don't. And then there was a cave they found where they were whereabouts they in the Middle East. They found this cave and tracked it down to where Jesus was, raised and everything, because he was a real person. And there was a burial, and in the burial there was a female skeleton, and there was and in that burial there was children. So they're thinking that Jesus was married, and they think it was Mary Magdalene that was his wife, because it's all through the Bible about Mary Magdalene and how he loved her. And there was two small skeletons next to him, and they feel that was their kids. So, I mean, I guess it made me not question God, just this research that's coming right in our face that the Bible is real. And there's things coming up being unearthed all the time. And it's sometimes it's scary if you think about it. Everything that was so and so said that's not real, and then all of a sudden the archaeologists, oh my god, the archaeologists are digging up all this stuff to prove that there is things that happened. I believe that anybody has to believe there's some kind of higher power. If you want to believe it's energy or whatever, there's something out there, and it fuels us. And it when we die, even if you're a devout atheist, you come back with some kind of prevalence of God. And there's been accounts where people were atheists and came back believing in God. Because my one friend doesn't believe in any kind of religion. She respects me, but she doesn't believe in God. She doesn't. She believes once you die, you die. I don't believe once you die, you die. I believe that we have a circle of souls that follow us in every lifetime, and we come back to learn lessons. And when we learn all of our lessons, we have a happy life. Because I don't believe that my soul was created and it's just gonna die. Because when I worked at the hospital, I worked there for about like 10 years. They were doing studies on dead bodies. And the doctor was doing research to see, because he believed in God and he wanted to see if a soul really existed. And he had, when people die in the hospital, so he would have them weighed before they died. And then he would have them, and that's before like they took their last pee and poop and all that, because that's what happens when you die. Your body's shutting down and getting rid of all that. But he would do all these proper proportions, and he would have people being weighed and everything. And he came to conclusion of 6 months of research and weighing all these the people before they die and after they die, that our soul weighs 10 grams, which in measurements is very small. And he calculated gas and everything, but the atheist still said that since he did all these different measurements, that he could have been wrong and there could still be no God. I believed him. I told him that the soul probably does weigh 10 grams. And I supported him because, I mean, I believe our soul does weigh something, but 10 grams is hardly anything. It's so small of a measurement. And it makes sense. And I believe, we go back to the earth and a piece of us goes somewhere and we come back in a different way. I mean, we all have our own belief system, but I believe this doctor. And I believe, and to discard the religious of God not being there when you have all these things going on and all these signs, I think is kooky talk. I really do. But I do respect everybody. I respect the atheist, but I like to believe that I seen something and I see things all the time where God is there. I mean, God would not be able. I wouldn't have been able to write my book if it wasn't for God giving me the talent talent enough to do that, or do this, or even do tarot readings. Everything we have comes from something, and I mean that's what logic will tell you. And And from nothing, there's always something. And I believe science itself proves that there's a God. Because science, the Catholic Church used to try to disprove science and say they were horrible and this and that. When science came out and all the scientific research came out, it just actually proved there's more of an existence to God. They discovered gray matter and black matter and white matter. And they discovered all these other universes. I mean, they pretty much are showing us there's God through science. God comes to you all different ways. Sometimes they come to you in card readings, sometimes it's through science, sometimes it's through the face of your family. But he's going to come. And it's not really the energy is going to come. Because that's what it does. So, as long as you're doing what you need to be doing and you try to help other people, no bad will befall on you. I've had a lot of bad things people try to do a lot of bad things to me. And when they did succeed, it really didn't succeed for long, and they're not living a good life now. And I believe by the grace of God himself that I actually got where I'm at because I've stayed humble through it all. I honestly have. I've realized that money doesn't mean anything in this world. It's only what we do, our acts. If they're charitable or not charitable, or nice or not nice. That's all that really matters. And I have realized that. So, and I'm just here to let you guys know, if you are good people going through hard times, there is somebody out there that sees it. And sometimes to get out of a bad situation takes steps, because that energy has to recycle and come back to you in a good way, and it has to be redirected. It really has to be. And it takes time, because God has his own time. God's time might be 2 years later. He's not concerned about our time. If he's taking care of all these black holes and multiple universes, he doesn't have time to worry about his time, maybe 2-3 years before it gets back to you. Honestly. And I've realized this through my long life. I feel like I've lived 1,000 years. Once you have died and come back, you feel like you lived 1,000 years. But I know that the higher power would want me to try to bring hope to everybody. And that's what I try to do. I try to bring hope. And it does bother me, and I am more of an empath, and I'm sensitive with animals and people in general and living things. But it does bother me when people hurt the animals, any animal. The puppies, the cats, and just the act of torture on the innocent is something I don't like. And it bothers me, and it brings me to this channel, because really, if you talk on, it offends people sometimes when you talk too much about how you don't like the innocent being tortured. And I don't. I think innocence should always be protected all the time. Because I get people got things going on in their life, and I get that some people are on drugs, but I feel the innocent should always be protected first. Because if someone's on a lot of drugs, doing a lot of different things and hurting people, eventually they're going to die and be reborn again. But the people they impacted around them They pretty much is, even once they get over the situation, they're gonna need counseling, and they impact so many people around them that it takes a lot of healing for one bad person to hurt like 100 bad innocents. And then some of the innocent take the they don't take the high road. Sometimes they join them and they get angry and they give in and they do what they do, and then they become like them. This is a pattern that happens a lot. So, I mean, I do agree with the military. I do believe there needs to be a military. So, I do like I do like the police. I like the idea of the police. Yes, there is bad police in the world and good police, but there's good and bad in everything. But we need protection. I get it, because think of where this world would be without people trying to protect the innocent. It would be 100 times worse. It would be like those old 80s movies where all the nomads are going around and killing people. Their people are afraid to go to jail, so they're gonna commit murder less. Religion is put forth upon us because it's a warning to be nice. Because as long as you could be nice and you can survive through the chaos, there's always protection for you. You just got to try to stay away from it. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you got to go through periods of you might not have as much money. And then somebody might say, oh, but you can sell this or do this and have more money. But is it really important to have those expensive shoes if you got to do something that you'll regret? Or that expensive purse? And who are you really impressing? I guess it comes down to this. This is why I usually have purses people give me. I don't even buy them most of the time. And it's crazy because people, when I started like losing weight, when I don't know, about 5 years ago, people would just give me their kids clothes and they would buy their kids all this expensive stuff, and then their kids would just get a lot bigger. And I figured, these are nice clothes. I can save this money to try to help somebody. I've always been like this my whole life. If I had like 10 sweaters and I had too much, I would always give them to somebody. And I like, if somebody would come to my house or my son's friends and they didn't have a coat, or they had one at home and forgot their coat, I would say I have like, and at that time I had like 50 sweater things, and between coats and sweaters, I would say, go take a coat and take it home. I don't want this one. And I would give people stuff. I mean, I didn't have a lot of money, but I had a surplus of things people would give me. And I didn't believe in throwing anything away unless I gave it to charity or something. Because I believe everybody needs help. And like I said on the one stream, I don't believe this realm is ending. There's a lot of spiritualists out there that think this realm is truly ending. And the Catholics believe that the devil is coming and there's going to be great destruction when Jesus comes back. And they believe that a lot of people are going to die, and there's specific numbers in the Bible, specific ones. And they say that these numbers are the people that are going to survive. That's what priests have told me. And these numbers don't always, I don't think that's what it means. I think if Jesus, I'm not discarding Jesus is going to come back, because I'm not. I do believe people come back, but I don't think that there's going to be death and destruction around them. Maybe it's a number of Maybe that with the numbers that are coming in the Bible are the people that are born in a certain time to bring awareness, or maybe just to be great people of peace, like Mother Teresa. She was one. And it doesn't even have to be of religious. Bob Marley was a peacemaker. These peacemakers, I believe, come into the world to make it the world a better place. And they come in, they could be musicians, they could be anything. I mean, John Lennon, I believe, in my eyes, he was always singing about peace. And we still celebrate his songs, and everybody wants to be peaceful around it. So maybe those numbers in the Bible of things, I don't think it's death and destruction. I think it's the number of peacemakers that are going to come. And maybe it's a constant number. Because I believe there's always peacemakers that their souls are born in every lifetime to help the innocent. And I honestly believe this. And I mean, we all have a right to what we believe and don't believe. But the one thing everybody seems to agree with in the world is we do have to have some kind of peace. If you're constantly at war with somebody, how are you supposed to live your life? If you're constantly blowing things up and causing destruction, how is it ever going to get better? You're just causing where children can't get food and people are getting injured and they have to figure out how they're going to get better. Some people's legs get blown off and then that person can't walk, so they have to be delayed in their mission in life. And it makes me sad when that happens. I mean, I know it's necessary sometimes, but it makes me sad. I mean, I wish people respected the peacemakers of the world a little bit more than they do. I guess what I could, what about that subject, because I believe if peacemakers were respected as much as the people that aren't peacemakers, it would be a better place. Jesus was a born peacemaker. All he was doing is speaking his mind, and he literally gets nailed to a cross. I mean, I know bad things happen, and I know that, but he's been I think it's like right. I think now over. I know it was 2,000 years old, but over 2,000 years to be dead, and then a book was written about him. So he was a holy peacemaker, and I believe there's a lot of them. There was books written on Mother Teresa, but I believe in every lifetime. I think that's where these numbers are coming from. And this is only my opinion. Those numbers can mean something else. It doesn't mean it's fact, because really anything that happened thousands of years ago, there really is no facts. Because we don't know because we weren't there. That's the bottom line. You could speculate, but it just gives proof that we need to have humanity. We need to have peace. Because without peace, there's no there's no light. We need the peace. Because peace gives people just happiness in general. You can't live around chaos. You can't. Chaos is not good. It drives people apart. It does a lot of stuff. And chaotic energy is something that you don't want to always be constantly around. Sometimes people can't help it because a lot of sometimes at home, if you got an abusive father or husband or wife, there's been a lot of instances. There was a lot of things I've seen where the men are getting beat up now. That's happening. And the women are blaming it on the men because they say that, they can get away with it. But women are starting to do it now. It used to be only the men, but now the women are doing it a lot. So I don't know. I just wish things would be more peaceful, and I guess I'm over here, and I try. So, oh, you're okay. Did I answer it? Oh, you can. I don't mind if you guys post your questions twice. I'm over here, and I get I have like a bunch of little comments everywhere, and then sometimes trying to sift through them is hard. I would rather you post it twice. I really would, because I'm not perfect. I never will be. I'm not God. So I'm not. So if I honestly missed your question, just repost it, please. I appreciate that, because I'm trying the live stream. It's kind of hard because you get all these comments that come flying at you sometimes, and just sifting through it is hard when you're trying to keep a momentum going. And sometimes I miss these questions. I do. I mean, on Google, I've seen those live streams over there where people are like way more popular than me, and they got millions of comments going through, it seems. And I don't know how they keep up with theirs. I mean, they're not tarot card readers, but man, they got lots of stuff going on. I don't know if I could be that kind of live streamer. That kind of live streaming seems very difficult. You got to be a very organized person for that. And I'm not sure if I'm that organized. Maybe they have tricks where they have lists or they got people helping them. I don't know. I could not tell you. I think I'd rather stay small for a while. And if I could be just that small person that maybe just gets enough money to get maybe food shelters going, and maybe like a small like animal shelter for no kill next to my food pantry, I would be happy, because I really don't want anything for me. I figure I got another 50 years to live, and I'm going to die and then be reborn. So, in my 50 years, I want to make it count. I try to make every day I do count. So, I know I got to work at stuff, but when I'm at work, I feel I do God's work there because I take care of the sick. I hear everybody I take care of them before they die, and I help I help the dying and the sick. So there's nothing more noble than that, besides maybe being a priest, because the priests are and the holy men are would be, I guess, number one in the rankings of that. The number two would be the people that are humble and want to bring peace and try to unite people. So I guess those people be number two. But I guess I'm in the number two category, and there's many people in this number two category. Many. There's even rappers in this category. Anybody that you see on social media that's rapping or singing about doing good things, it's all the same effect. It really is. So you got to keep that in mind also. It's just they have different gifts. And when you hear that one song that makes you want to do good for the day, it's the same effect as if you went and talked to somebody and turned your energy around and made it good. Some people work through music, some people work through conversation. There's different degrees of these things. There really honestly is, so I can tell you that. But I'm gonna go ahead and take me a little break, and I'm gonna go ahead and do another stream because my husband said that his boss is under he was on probation or something, and he's doing like a week. I don't know if it's he's on arrest for a week. I don't know if he's on that house arrest thing or whatever, but he can't be at work, and he's going to be working late today because they don't have anyone to close. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little break just to stretch out and go to the bathroom and stuff, and then I'm going to charge the phone a little bit while I'm doing that, and then come on for another stream because I'm trying to be able to work over here, and that's why I took these 4 days off. And I decided to do all my days in one lump sum. So Friday through Sunday, you don't see me a lot live streaming because I'm literally working 12 hours a day. And I do that so I can have Monday through Thursday off. Because this is the only way I'm able to survive and try to grow my social media for the food pantries and such. And I do have fun. I'm meeting you guys and stuff, and I do want to give a shout out to the person that wants to give me raincoats. But thank you for wanting to give me raincoats. But I live way too far away for the raincoats. So, and I appreciate you wanting to give me a raincoat. So, I just want to tell that person I forgot their name. I was not in English. I'm not sure where it's at. It was in another country. But thank you for supporting me and wanting to give me raincoats because I feel that was a very nice, kind act and I appreciate you. But I'm going to go ahead and take my break and I'll be back. You guys will see my button if you're subscribed. So, and I hope I answered your questions and helped you with any kind of issue you had, if you had an issue, because I'm here to try to help people. And I appreciate all you guys. And thank you for a very good stream.